So one of my phases, why did the Little Mermaid wear seashells?
To hide her little seashell nibbles?
No, because she grew out of her bee shells.
Trash or cash, trash or cash. Is the idea trash or is cash? Let us know. Yes, maybe so, or for sure, it's a no. Stop while we ahead and turn around or it's a go. Trash or is cash, go on ahead, submit your vote. Hey yo, check dig, you're now tuned in to Trash or Cash Podcast. The show where the host will present a new idea and debate whether it's trash or cash. But the final decision is solely up to you, the audience.
Hey guys, welcome to the Trash or Cash Podcast, a show for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs. So the idea for this podcast is simple. It's a couple of entrepreneurs like me and my guy Mark here who get together and we talk a little business, and then we get to know each other, and then we pitch each other an idea that we might have had in business that either may be crazy wild and not have any legs, or actually produce something successful. We don't know till we hear it, right? And ideas are one thing and action is another. So it doesn't really matter what you put out there, because if you're not going to use it, what's the difference? No NDAs need to be signed here. It's like, hey, ideas, good, bad, cash or trash, and it's as simple as that. We're gonna have fun, right, Mark?
I like it. I love to have fun. Because
you're full of jokes.
I'm full of fun.
Every day, Mark puts out a joke. What is it? What do you call it?
Wake up laughing.
Wake up laughing. So if you follow Mark O'Donnell of RGA, by the way, on video, on social medias, you will get a joke a day, whether you want it or not,
and whether it's good or not.
Yeah, whether it's trash or cash, you're gonna get one.
There you go.
All right, so Mark.
Yes.
O'Donnell.
No relation to Rosie or Chris, and I'm not fat or good looking.
Well, that remains to be seen.
Okay.
My guest today, guys, is Mark O'Donnell, as you just heard. And what you should know about Mark is that he is an awesome dude. He runs an organization called RGA, which I am a member of.
You are.
I think I actually need to re-up.
Let me write that down. Dues need to be sent. Okay.
I don't know. I didn't get the notification, but I think I'm close.
You read your emails, the prehistoric emails, or do we need to text you?
Mary
Frances.
I need Matt to specifically tell me that, because he's got to check. Give me a quick background on who Mark O'Donnell is, a little bit, 2-minute kind of, not cliff notes, but like highlights of your life. You're here for a reason. I admire you. You're one of the reasons that I started doing Tampa cleanups, actually, beach cleanups, because you inspired the first one. In fact, that is why I joined RGA, because I was like, oh, these guys are about the community, not about a bunch of just chitty chat. And here we are a year and some change later.
Right.
So, tell my audience about you, what they need to know about the smoothest Tampa entrepreneur I've met thus far.
Well, I was born a poor farm kid in good old Bland, Missouri, and it's Bland. Let me tell you, it's named after Richard Bland, who took us from the gold standard to the silver standard with the United States Mint. I graduated from Truman University and had a really long, substantial career with the Museum of Transportation in St. Louis, Missouri. I literally ran the front-end operations. It's the largest collection of locomotives, cars, trains, planes, and automobiles in the world. After about 22 years, I was able to retire and move to Florida. I was an extremely young man and didn't really have anything to do, so I fished for 90 days and then got sunburnt. I got a package at the doorstep that was from Welcome Wagon at our home in Dunedin, and it had a free haircut, free everything, free dog grooming, free teeth cleaning, free, right? So we were new in town. We used every single certificate. And I was told by my partner, Aaron, he said, you might want to get a job. And I'm like, well, I'm retired. And he said, you might want to get a job. So I called him up and I said, hey, I'd like to do this. And they said, what kind of sales experience do you have? And I said, well, I ran a museum and I took it from $38,000 in revenue. When I left, it was $6.5 million. So, I told them that, and they hung up the phone on me. Yeah, and so I called them back because I'm from Missouri. That's how you do. And I was going to MF them, and I got a hold of Helene Racinto. Hi, Helene. And she said, Mark, I'm going to send you a VHS training tape, and you watch it, and it's got some contracts in there. You can't go to Clearwater or Dunedin, that's where you live. You have to go down to Clearwater. You sign up some merchants. So I watched the little videotape, And I went down to Clearwater, and of course they're the home of that one church everybody talks about. We won't mention any names. It just begins with an S and ends in -tology. And so I got the book, right? Because I thought if I'm going to sell in Clearwater, I better have that guy's book. And I literally sold like 45 people in about 3 weeks. So I called and I said, Helene, is Helene there? And they're like, hold on, let me get it. Mark, how's my favorite Clearwater rep? She was from Long Island. I'm trying to do a really bad Long Island thing.
No, you're doing great.
And I said, I've got 45 contracts. Where do I send them? And she goes, what do you mean you have 45 contracts? And I'm like, okay, I'll slow down for you, Helene. I've sold 45 people in the Clearwater book, and I have checks and cash. Your training tape's great, but doesn't say where to send the money. And then she's like, oh my God, she couldn't believe how I did it. And she goes, did anybody do the welcome wagon billing? I said, no, and here's why. At the very end of the instructions, if they quit paying welcome wagon, you got this charge back in commission. So I only took checks, cash, or credit card because I wasn't going to get a charge back in commission. I ain't stupid. I'm from Missouri. So long story longer, people kept leaving, coming, going from the company. I eventually kept taking over other territories. We went to conference, and Irv Siegel, the owner, said, hey, Mark, I want you to get up because you're the #1 rep in the country. Share your tips and techniques on how to sell this program. And I go, no, Irv, I'm not doing that. We're all in competition. Why would I tell Jason how to sell better if it's going to cut my paycheck? That doesn't sound very smart to me. You have a nice, I'll go back in the auditorium. So he said, oh, well, our sales trainer is not going to be here. We need to hire a sales trainer. So we both wrote a little number on a piece of paper. And I said, well, this is what I want. And he gave me his, and I laughed because I'm making way more than this as a sales rep. So I went back and sat, and Helene came in the audience and tapped me on my shoulder. And she's like, Irv has come up to your price. And I go, well, now we need to talk about like the cell phone and a car and the driving and the credit card, all the ancillaries that go with being a sales trainer. So I did that for about 7 years. And then that was 2007, January. You probably remember that. That was a great year till about October. And then all of a sudden the housing market went boom, right? And my fraternity brother, Tim O'Shaughnessy, was starting a company called Living Social. In Washington, D.C., which was kind of like the Groupon today. They purchased us, and so it was like you only paid for people that actually walked in the door. And I excelled in that, became their sales trainer. And one thing I learned in both of those jobs is one way to reach a lot of people in a short amount of time was networking, right? So you could go to networking functions and kind of cherry pick the people that you would want to set appointments with. Because if we were in Kentucky or Maine or Louisiana or up north, you can go in the summer and like walk around a town. Down here, you'll be like sweating from head to toe because it's so effing hot. I mean, what is it, June, and it's like 900 degrees? Beastly hot. So I tried out a lot of the other networking things, and some of them were really great people, but they were selling lotions, potions, skinny powders, and they all had these great opportunities. I think it's multi-level marketing, and I'm sure that works for a lot of people, but I like to call it moms losing money, because it was usually moms losing money, right? Well, here, buy my shit, buy my shit, buy my shit. And it seemed like all the weight loss products were being sold by fat people, and I was kind of like, I'm not fat shaming, but if you're going to sell weight loss, you should say, look, I was the size of Jared from Subway, and now I'm this big.
It's bad for the brand.
Bad for the brand, exactly. And I would always wonder, if it's such a great opportunity, why aren't you rolling up in a limo with a driver, getting out, with one of the Hilton sisters, like, right? If it's that kind of a thing. So then there was this other group that if you missed a meeting, you got kicked out. If you didn't bring a guest, you got kicked out. There were more ways to get kicked out than to get kicked in.
The BMI, right?
I'm not going to mention any names.
I can.
I'll just look at the party and whistle. So I thought, well, how hard could this be, right? So we literally went to, it was Joe's Crab Shack on Gulf to Bay, and they asked the ladies that nobody was buying lunch. And I was like, look, I just came from my CPA, and here's all my Joe's Crab Shack. I think I've spent like $1,200 this year buying lunches at Joe's. Like, give me a break. So once they kicked us out of there, that following Thursday, we started at Chili's in Clearwater, and that's 13 years ago.
And that
here we are.
And that is RGA Network.
RGAnetwork.net.
Started in a Joe's Crab Shack. It was basically your network condensed into this, smaller, more flexible. All right, so I know RGA, but I'm going to explain it. RGA stands for Revenue Generating Activities.
It does.
And it's a networking, events. And you guys have one every day except for Sundays and Saturdays too, or no?
Saturdays and Sundays. So we like to say it's your source for more handshakes, connections, and referrals.
Yeah. Okay. And so in this area, and I know you guys are expanding, you got probably 3 to 4 or even 5 sometimes a day in different areas. So why I like it is because, I might be 2 weeks where I got too much going on, but I can always pop in and see the same people. And you can just jump around into different lunches. And it's a good time. You can do a business lunch. You get to trade activities. You guys encourage.
We have our language at RGA.
Yeah, I know you got moms and dads.
Moms are meetings outside the meetings. Dads are discussions after dinner because we're a family. Find another member and learning why.
Yeah, so there's all this this code speak, and that's what's good about a community. Like when you start having your own language, it's like it makes you tighter. I really appreciated that when I was new to Tampa. Like not knowing other people that were doing business, because in networking events, like say at night, everybody's 5 seconds here, 5 seconds there. You get to know each other. There's not a lot of building, but the lunches, you got like an hour and a half. You're sitting down. Everybody gets the presentation. And what's really cool is that you guys have the 30, was it 30 minutes? 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
10-minute presentation.
10 minutes, you get to explain your business to people. So especially if you're trying to work on your presentation, it's a really good place because nobody's there judging you. They get to hear more. I always tell people I talk trash for a living because that's what I do. I got the podcast and I talk about trash and I have a trash app. But how do you expand upon that? And because, it's cute, but it's like, well, I don't need to talk about trash. I don't have any trash needs till you hear the presentation and you're like, holy moly, right?
Holy moly.
So that is a great way to take what you normally don't have the time or the person doesn't have the capacity at that time to listen to, and you get to work on your pitch and hone it. And I will say that I've done 3 of them, and I've changed them around each time. And
that's it, just 3. Why not more? We need to sign you up, get you out there.
I know. I it's only because I'm trying to find the right, the scheduling for the right one. But I will. You put me on the spot one time. You're like, you're coming next week. I'm like, yeah, I guess I am.
Yeah, I guess I am.
So I got these 3 questions I want to ask you, so people get they pretty much got a good dose of Mark just now, but more about who you are, like inside, like, what you stand for, that kind of stuff. So I'm going to ask these 3 questions and I'm pretty sure you're going to kill them. So let me begin. What are you most proud of?
Wow. What I'm most proud of is during the pandemic, when we were shut down on a Wednesday nationwide, our team leaders, we had 41 chapters, and we literally banded together. We decided which platform we could go because we knew we needed to keep the community engaged, right? Who wanted to be locked in their house? I know, Jason, you and I have said, if we only had 2 weeks at our home, we'd get everything organized, right? Well, that didn't happen during the lockdown, but people were going crazy. But we also knew we needed to provide an opportunity for them to still earn a living. So we were able to pivot with in-person meetings to doing Zoom meetings. And we literally did online 10 meetings a week, 1 evening mixer, and we were recognized by ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox News, CBS Sunday Morning, Good Morning America. Like almost every media outlet literally featured us as the online presence for networking. So people who were able to sell outside of Florida thrived. People who were able to sell within Florida got the word out from other people rather than just like, what am I going to do? We did it, right? We actually got connections with Zoom. So we have like a super corporate account. We could host 500 people during these meetings. Sometimes we'd have 500 people. We didn't do 30-second commercials for all of them because we'd be there all day. But it was super recognized by the rest of the world, I think. So that we saved a lot of business owners that
It's awesome. And you still do the Zooms Fridays.
We do Friday morning Zooms. We now call it ACT, Acquire Connections Today, because I'm all about those acronyms.
I haven't gotten on one of those because of the timing. I'm always taking kids or running around at that time.
Those kids have them learn to walk to school.
You tell him, he's sitting right there.
Walk to school. Or skateboard.
How about this? What are you most excited about right now?
Well, the Business Expo, right? July 27th, Ruth Eckerd Hall. We already have 75 vendors. We have about 800 pre-registered to attend. We have a ton of door prizes, like so many door prizes, a couple TVs, a drone, a lot of restaurant gift certificates.
And it's free to the public.
It's free to the public, yeah. The first 100 people through the door get the bag full of swag. There's all kinds of cool stuff in that. I think every fifth bag has a $100 Southwest Airlines gift card, which is super cool. We have the Clearwater Marine Aquarium that's coming to the expo. We have Keep America Beautiful is going to be featured at the expo. Your heartstrings, right?
Yeah.
We have. I don't want to leave anybody out, but we have a lot of nonprofits. It benefits all the RGA nonprofits. The Summer Business Expo is kind of like our biggest event of the year.
Is there a theme this year? Because I think last year was Pirates, right?
Last year was Pirates. This year is Summer Movie Classics. So it can be anything from like, hey, you guys, Goonies, right? Or, dun, 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 Jaws, right? Or Summer Lovin' had me a blast.
I don't know.
Summer Lovin'
you gotta go
happens
with
so
Grease.
fast.
You gotta go to
Grease.
my kids. No, they got that. They know the rest of the lyrics.
Okay.
If you put that on in my house, they'll finish it.
Summer movie classics, yeah. So that's that'll be fun, and we do that just to give the attendees, kind of a theme. And the tables, they get different awards for the best movie, the best idea, the best.
So there is a win if you do get dressed up.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
got it. Not
For
just
sure.
because it's pretty hot, so you got to make sure that costume's gonna last a day.
You could always come as the Little Mermaid, wearing those little seashells.
You don't want to see these puppies out there.
Yeah.
You gotta pay. You gotta pay that money.
Seashells.
All right, so RGA is, I know a little bit about it as far as some of the vision. I mean, I've heard the whispers and we've talked a little bit, but like the expansion. So what's your vision for the future for RGA?
So it's funny you should mention that. We brought on some amazing professionals. One, Shirley Jump. She's an outstanding author, a ghostwriter, and acclaimed Amazon and New York Times best-selling author and ghostwriter to write our first book. We're the first networking group in history to write a book. It's called The Best Business Minds in Tampa Bay. Shirley literally helped us co-write it. This is my well-worn copy. We literally, in the third week of distribution, became Amazon best-selling authors in not only one category, but two. And so I said to all 50 of those authors, that carries you for the rest of the life. Nobody will take that away. It's sort of like an education when you go to university. Nobody can take that away from you. And Shirley was trying to impress on me on how important that status was. And then Raquel Welch died, the famous movie star from the 60s and 70s. Mm-hmm. And David Muir, Nora O'Donnell, and Lester Holt all began their broadcasts with legendary movie actress and Amazon best-selling author Raquel Welch passed away today. And I was just like, are you freaking kidding me? So I called Shirley up to say, you were right. I was wrong. I totally understand. Because Raquel Welch would be much more known as a sex symbol of the 60s and 70s. So I think that's super cool. We're actually doing another author program, which is How to Maximize Your Network. With Shirley Jumpstart Creative Solutions. Shirley, just give you a plug there. She's written for the White House, the NFL, the what's the one ball that goes across the net? Court, hot.
Tennis?
Lesbians, tennis. Yeah. So she's done that, and she's done, what's the other one?
You must kill it at Pictionary and all those. Charade. Hot, lesbians.
Lesbians, tennis.
Not Pornhub. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that
All
went
right.
south. Speaking of legendary, bonus question. What do you want to be remembered for? Like legendary, fill in the blank, Mark O'Donnell. What would you put? What would that word be for you? Like if you had your way?
You know, we do a lot of our meetings where we do what's the question of the day? What would you want on your tombstone? I'm sort of a jokester, so I would want them to say like I told them I was sick. But I think hopefully that I've impacted the lives of many people to help them grow and build their legacy, right? I've been an important part to helping them scale their business to an exponential level. With the museum, I'm most proud of that I was able to get them enough money to restore and locomotives, trains, planes, and automobiles to bring a bright future for our historic past. Because if you don't know where you come from, how do you know where you're going to? And it's super cool to walk through the institution and see the history of travel from, coach carriages to locomotives to airplanes to automobiles, everything from like the 1904 St. Louis car to the Bobby Darin Dream car to the Chrysler Turbine car, which runs on any combustible liquid, folks. The technology is out there. They just have kept it from us.
Yeah, I hear about that with all the Tesla legends and
we have the first
secrets.
Tesla. So yeah, the Chrysler Turbine car is in operation today at the Museum of Transportation, St. Louis, Missouri, conveniently located off of Barrett Station Road. Go take a visit.
Can't wait till there's a
But
teleportation
no,
device.
I think I'm probably helping most. I get that every day. Oh my God, you saved my business during the pandemic, or my business is now able to scale. Or
So what about like legendary networker? Because you never really hear that.
Never really hear that. Well, I always say it's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's who knows you, right? And I think successfully, 92% of the people that know me like me, and the 8% I really don't give a shit about, right? People
Can't make everybody happy.
You can't make everybody happy. Like if something, I always tell people, don't tell the bad things that happen to you, because half the people are going to feel sorry for you, 48% of the people are going to be glad it happened to you, and 2% just won't give a shit. So you have to kind of be very careful.
What's that phrase? Some will, some won't. So what?
So what?
Yeah,
Next.
You got to do that. So this is the fun part. Now, next
this
part.
wasn't
This
the
is-
fun part?
No,
this is the fun part.
This is the funner.
Here we go.
The funner part.
Funner.
Yeah. So
is that like if we were doing Scrabble, would that be a word?
in my world, yes.
It would, because that would like have more vowels, right? Fun.
In my house, there are constantly new rules made up, especially when it comes to playing pool or any random thing. So in my world, that would probably
But
be.
we can't do like the Bill Maher.
If I'm not
New
arguing,
rules.
if it's me and my wife arguing, it won't fly. But like amongst the children and the dad, it could work.
Well, I am glad to see she has broken her vow of not getting her picture taken with you as long as you have colored hair.
Well, I tricked her and at an event, and then now because I got over that, she's not grown fond of, but used to.
Willing
the
to put
situation.
up with.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think.
yeah.
I would-
And that's not even that was yesterday. I don't know what today's like.
Well, you'll find out when you go home.
Yeah. Then
So we have these paddles here.
So trash or cash, and what it is I'm going to pitch you an idea about something that I think is a good business idea or an add-on to something that I've already done.
Okay. And am I going to do the same to you?
Yeah, it can be something you've seen or heard. It could be something you've done or thought about for yourself. There's no real rule to it other than you're going to say, what do you think of this? Or I thought this would be a good idea and here's how it would monetize. And I think this is the value it would bring to the world. However, like 2-minute pitch. And I say, well, yeah or no, maybe, for whatever reason, trash or cash. And then I explain why. And at the end of the day, we're still friends. There's no revenge. You're not going to ban me from RGA meetings if I give you a trash. I don't think you are. I think you're a creative person, and anybody who's watching this or hearing this is going to know. You'll probably create something on the spot that'll work.
Are we on camera right now?
We've been on camera the whole time.
Oh my God. Well, hello.
Yeah,
How's everybody?
yeah.
I mean,
This
you're
is
getting
all-
my skinny side, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
hopefully, yeah. We've been on
All
camera
the
the
right
whole
angles.
time.
Oh, no.
You're in 3D, buddy. You're in 3D. So you have YouTube videos to show, and
I love it.
Hopefully your sponsors still respect you after.
Hopefully they kind of know me. It's like whatever comes out.
I mean,
of my
yeah,
mouth,
you bring
right?
that chaotic good to the table, and I appreciate
right.
that because I do too. In fact, that's probably why I invited you, because I like kinship. Okay, so you want to go first, or you want me to?
You go first. I
Okay.
want to hear this great, amazing idea.
All right, so not cheating, but this actually worked already, so I know it worked. However, I'm going to run it by you because I think you appreciate this because it was funny. It was a prank. Okay, the previous Valentine's Day, not the last one, but before, I was challenged by my co-founder Jared. We were having a talk about something, and it was
Not the Subway guy.
No, he's got a problem. Not that
He
Jared.
has a big problem. Well, probably a foot long problem.
The I don't think he's taking the footlongs in the right place. That's all I gotta say for that. Anyway, the the idea was, right, is like he told me, okay, think outside the box and like come up with something and just do it, like challenge yourself.
Okay.
And I started laughing. I was like, I had this idea about something, and I kind of explained it. I'll explain it right now. But he was like, just do it. Like he thought it was funny too. I was like, just see if it'll work. So it was an experiment. So the concept was, I call it the gift of garbage. And what it was is on Valentine's Day, I whipped it together in like 3 days. It was like, hey, let me see if I can get people to buy bags of trash as a prank, right? And so, you would normally give people flowers for Valentine's Day or candy and all that. I was giving bags of trash. And the idea was you send this bag of trash to somebody you kind of don't like or you want to prank, whether it's like if it's your ex-girlfriend, maybe it's a bag of dead flowers. Or if it's your buddy, it's a bag of trash and, a picture of him trying to do a bench press and it's like your bench press is trash. So I whipped it together, I made these little things and I got a bunch of people. And believe it or not, I got 6 customers from it. And it was all dudes pranking other dudes. And I actually got a request for somebody that were like, look, I want to send 5,000 pounds of horse shit to this guy because he owes me $5,000 and I want you to dump. I said, nah, we're not going to deal with that. But the point is, as an MVP, and it was on brand, the idea, and I was thinking, well, this could work, especially because the same way following Hallmark, every holiday there's an occasion to trash somebody in a good way or a prank way. And just like the store Spencer's is just made off of pranks.
Right.
Like I figured I could take the same trash that I'm getting paid to pull from people's houses and get somebody else to pay for it to get put at somebody else's houses, and even create a system of like, hey, I'm not going to tell you who put it there as a prank, but you have the option of sending them one back anonymously, keep it anonymous. So if you want to get back at the person, you can press a button. I didn't go that far, but the point is, it worked, and I got money from it, and I got people to deliver it, and everybody that participated in it thought it was funny as hell. So what do you think of that?
Well, I have a couple questions.
Sure.
When they deliver, do they like ring and run, or do they stand there and hand it to them?
No,
or?
they just put it on the porch or somewhere where they can see it.
No ring and run.
No, it was basically a white bag, and I made like these printouts you could put on it, like the Grinch or Oscar the Grouch, funny stuff.
Okay.
Some were like, hey, I know what you did, and it's kind of like there was like 40 of them. I just like pick a theme.
But 6 became customers.
6 customers. Wow. Yeah. And I was like in a 3-day period. It was just like I like I said, MVP.
Right. Did you do it then the following Valentine's
No, I didn't.
Day?
I
Just
wanted
the one
to.
And done.
I want to bring it back in a different way.
You want to bring the trash delivery as a gift
Yeah,
back.
I think like selling ice to Eskimos, the idea of that just made me laugh.
I think maybe you could institute like a singing telegram with it. Like, you're a lousy boyfriend and this is here, it's why.
Everything is possible. So that's
Right.
the idea. Instead of a gorilla or something, I'm getting paid to remove the thing, and I'm actually getting paid to put it back, and I'm actually getting paid to send another bag out as a revenge thing.
As a revenge thing.
Yeah.
Because it's anonymous, right? It would be...
And dudes think it's funny, so I know I have a market, and that would be guys that are like.
Are they? Well, how much did you charge? I guess
it was
what was your
$20.
price? It's just $20.
And the
Everybody,
driver,
$20 is $20.
The driver themselves got 14 of it.
Wow, and
So-
the trash was free.
The trash was free. You're just taking it. Like you could literally take your own trash. I only had a couple rules for them. I was like, no poop.
Although the manure thing is kind of clever.
It is.
But what he could have
But then
done is like,
biodegradable,
manure could go into mulch pile, right? You could say, look, here's 1 pound of shit. There'll be 50,000 or 49,999 more pounds delivered if you don't pay your bill.
Something. But I wanted to stay away from that just because, we have EPA woke there's a million people why, and that of course somebody would ruin the fun.
Well, I would say cash. Give it a shot, right?
It worked. It worked.
6 people.
I haven't shared that I shared it before, but like I figured you'd appreciate the humor.
I
in
would.
that.
I think I know a few people that I would love send them a bag of shit or trash.
Yeah.
Send them a bag of trash.
We're gonna stay away from the poop because I don't want to get into the what do you call it, the OSHA problems.
Well, poop jokes aren't my favorite. They're a solid number 2.
All right, I got a cash for the trash.
There
How about
you go.
that?
Ba-dum,
Double
bum.
up. All right. What do you, so do you? I want to ask you this thing, and I don't know what your idea is, but you got anything for like an idea for like teens, kids, entrepreneur space kind of thing? Because we're really trying to because I'm a dad, and I would kind of want to encourage that. And
so
see
I have
if
a couple things. We've lived in Florida now 20 years, almost longer than we lived in Kirkwood, where the museum was. And you know what has never happened at our house? No kid has ever knocked on the door and said, "Hey, I'll mow your lawn, clean your gutters, wash your car, anything." We used to do that a lot to get money, right? We weren't old enough to work like by society's standards, but we were sufficient enough to do labor around the house. I mean, up north, we would shovel driveways, stuff like that in the winter. I think we need to bring that back, right? Because that's the first beginnings of an entrepreneur life. There's a lot of senior communities where they just have trouble loading and unloading the groceries, right? Now we do have Instacart, right? But a lot of ladies don't like somebody else picking out their stuff. You let me know when you're going to be home, and I'll help you bring the groceries into the house. You need the back thing blown off of all the leaves. I'll do that. Kind of like a mini home, person.
extra hand,
helping hand, maybe.
That's not bad.
Trash.
Part of Trash Emitter, one of the things was I wanted to help the elderly. Like if you broke your foot like 6 weeks, you can't take out your trash, because that's what happened to me. I remember breaking my foot, and I still had to take out the trash.
With all them kids, nobody would take out the trash.
He wasn't big enough at the time. I'm limping or sliding in the rain, and I couldn't take out the trash.
I grew up on a farm. When we were 3, we were big enough to do stuff. We were dragging that and our teddy bear.
But if I ever wanted to get my aunt who was disabled, and I don't want to run all the way down there, I could pay a neighborhood kid to go do that,
right.
and the network.
Go get their mail. All kinds of things. Like kind of like a community helper or whatever. Yeah. And if they were smart, they would do it on a subscription program, right? For $25 a month, that'll include me blowing off your leaves. It'll, mowing the lawn, or $70, whatever it is, depending on how big it is. So
there is a version of Trash Emitter that will be that, and
so that's already a proven concept.
Well, it's not. It is
in the works.
Because I want to stick to the trash, but the whole idea of the ecopreneur. And that could relate to grass and leaves and all that. Like, I kind of want to instill that, and that relates. So, believe it or not, I like it. Obviously, it's cash because I'm actually working on a version of that.
So, I have 2.
Okay, so
my second one is kids. These are like appendages in their hand. I'm holding my cell phone for those folks watching us on or listening. I think if kids were smart, they would go to retirement centers. And they would say, "I'm going to teach you how to do Facebook. I'm going to teach you how to do Instagram. I'm going to teach you how to do TikTok," right? Because I think what the high barrier of entry for an older person is they get this device and they don't know what button, what this. And I think if they were just shown, that all of a sudden we'd have granny dancers on TikTok, right? And think about it. If they're in a more affluent retirement center, it would be good for the activities director to certainly bring this kid in as a bonus to, hey, learn how to communicate with your grandkids.
I like it because of the community building, number 1. Number 2, my son, who actually just left the room, he was doing something similar, and he loved it with older folks. He was helping them, they wanted to help with their hair and stuff like that. But he liked it because he thought it was so sweet.
Right.
So, and a lot of times they do have cell phones, And
They all do now.
instead of like playing Sudoku all day or whatever, which they do because they want to keep their mind moving,
Right.
you know, you can add that on. So that is a good bridge builder for them.
But imagine if your grandmother posted a reel to Instagram talking about you. Like you would be like, what? Grandma knows Instagram? Grandma knows reels? Grandma's like giving me a shout. Wait a minute.
Grandma got bars. She's dropping lyrics.
Yeah, she's like got music on there. And I think that it's not that they don't want to learn. It's just no one's taking the time, effort, or energy to teach them.
They're not dumb. They're just like, they don't want to break something. But once you say like, oh, this is not going to break, you can just go.
It was super funny because Uncle Chuck was, you know, he was the flip phone and he did the Android thing. And we're like, Uncle Chuck, we want you to get an iPhone because we can literally video chat. And if something would ever happen, true story, first day we get like Uncle Chuck's eyes. And I'm like, oh, bro, what's going on? He goes, well, I've just gotten up, and I'm like, Uncle Chuck, if you're naked, turn the phone off and go get some clothes on. I mean, he'd just gotten up, right? So no harm, no foul. All we saw was the eyes. But I'm like, yeah, that'll show everything. Good thing it was pointed up. But
training wheels now.
Training wheels. But for him, it gives him a sense of interaction with us, right? Because he just sees old people.
That's a whole social media channel. It's like The Awakening, and it's like older people's first day doing reels, and it's just a bunch of like these bad attempts and funny, and it's just like, and then they kind of graduate and they start to get good at it. But just seeing those baby steps, those like basic fails.
Well, they already
that's a whole content strategy.
They already have their own texting code, right? BFF, best friend fell, ATD, at the doctor. I mean, they got that all wrong. They have their own lingo.
Last kind of thing, because we got to wrap this up. I know you're a library full of wisdom. So if you got like say one, other than the RGA book, like one book that, you know, for entrepreneurs or networkers and people in business, a podcast, a suggestion on something, like what's one that you're like, you got to check this book out, made such a difference in it actually, let's say it helped me build what I've built today. You got one of those?
I do, and it's an old book, so it's probably $1.99 on the resale. It's How to Master the Art of Selling Anything by Tom Hopkins. And Tom takes it from whether you're selling garage door openers to cars to $1 million homes. There's a step-by-step process of learning who you're talking to. And I think partly because of the cell phone, there's keys everybody gives off in the way their office is decorated. I've used this example, and some people, the light goes on. If their office is decorated and they have all their university and degrees on the wall, what are they most proud of? Their education and accomplishments. So what do you want to talk to them about? Their education and accomplishments. If they have their family pictures all over the wall, you don't want to talk to them about their education and accomplishments. You want to talk to them about their kids and grandkids and nieces and nephews and the things they've done. They have sports memorabilia. Again, people give you clues of what's interesting to them, right? Because you have the first 5 minutes, somebody's going to decide whether or not they're going to do business with you. Boom, it's that quick in the sales arena. And if you can get into a level where you are, oh my God, that guy's a Seahawk fan, or that guy loves his nieces, or that guy, you know, went to Truman University. You instantly have that connection. And why RGA does lunches and breakfast, because really breaking bread is the first communication humans had from the beginning of time. They would kill the buffalo and drag it into the cave and cook it right, or sometimes eat it raw. But you know what I mean? That was the first sitting down in the interaction. So it's kind of built into our DNA. But Tom does a great job. He's still alive. He's a friend of mine.
Tom, what is his name?
Tom Hopkins, How to Master the Art of Selling Anything.
Yep.
Because people would always say to me, but I'm selling this and nobody wants that. Well, first of all, if you're not selling something that you're excited about, sell something else. Go find something else. But if you're passionate about it, you should be able to get your passion to come shining through. And we used to have the guy, I mean, if you've been to New York, remember the guy that sit in Times Square peeling the potatoes?
I didn't see that. I mean, there's so many.
There's a guy who was there for 30 years. He peeled potatoes. He would get 20 pounds of potatoes, sit in Times Square and peel potatoes. 2 potato peelers were $20. I think he got them for like $4, right? He literally lives on Madison Avenue in one of the $4 million homes.
I never heard that story.
2 stories below Joan Rivers, to where when he got old, he couldn't do it. He'd have to get like 10 pounds and then go get another 10 pounds because 20 pounds was too much for him to drag. But he made that big of a living, right? To where his daughter is now doing it. Now, she's literally peeling potatoes in the middle of Times Square. Now, here's the cool thing. When they're done with the bucket of potatoes, they have a restaurant that they bring fresh peeled potatoes to. And they're happy to take it because A, they don't have to peel them. B, they're ready to go. And when you're in Times Square, they make you want to buy the world's greatest potato peeler. You not only get 1, you get 2 for $20. And I was just like, I bought them. I sat there and watched her peel 2 or 3 potatoes.
It's like a one trade. It's like a one product trade show in the middle of Times Square.
And it's potato peelers, and nobody goes to New York wanting or thinking to buy. I mean, the Naked Cowboy, right?
I remember that, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like,
but the potato peeler thing is just funny because nowadays, like, if it still works, because people are like, Instagram, DoorDash, everything's made for them now. So if they're still selling them, there's like, it's not even the product, it's the presentation and how it made you feel.
They're in Times Square.
You were edutained, basically.
Yes.
I like that because it just reinforced, like, everything you just said was like the trash idea, selling it. Like, I took something that was like simple and just turned it into something fun, and it worked. Not at that level. I'm not living in that place, but it just reinforced, like, I'm always on the right path when I think like that. I got one for you. I think you're gonna dig it. It's called Ditch the Act by Leonard Kim and Ryan Foland. And what it is basically what you demonstrated today is people come and they try to present exude a certain personality because they think that's professional and business-like, and they're not really real and authentic. And in this day and age, that does not work anymore. No. Like, I mean, there should always be some decorum, but the point is, if you have to control yourself too much, like, people see through that, they feel that, and it's inauthentic. And this is about, like, kind of getting to your true story and, like, life events and, like, what made you into what you were, and then sharing them almost like a therapy, so that the people that you are eventually going to sell to or create a relationship feel like they really know you because you shared intimate things with them, so that they, get to like, know, and trust you. But I like the way they take it because they really take it pretty far. They're like traumatic things, like, put them out, like, write a story about, like, the worst thing that ever happened to you and put it out there and see what people think. And the exercise is really just like sharing in a way that no matter what you're selling, it's about you and they're buying you, which is really sales. It's like selling without selling. So it's about you. You're the product, right? Like, you have something, it's just a mechanism, but, like, you could sell anything because it's you.
Right.
And I think you'll dig this book because it makes you go through some exercises, but I liked how it really got to the root of, like, being authentic. And we do not have enough of that today. So maybe hopefully you'll check that out and like that. So that was the one I wanted to suggest to you because you are who you are. So, all right. So, thank you for being a guest.
Thank you for having me.
I want to shout out the space. This is a collab. I know you didn't get, maybe we'll give a quick tour after, but this space right here, I'm part of a collab. So a bunch of entrepreneurs, tech guys, real estate guys, we all pitch in and we subsidize this place, and we have meeting rooms, and we have the podcast space, and we have all this stuff and meeting space over there. And it's like a WeWork, except for, like, we actually rub shoulders.
Without the debt and all the collapsing.
Well, I don't know if have you been in any of the, like, they're not really networking places, they're workplaces. Like, you don't really, you could be in the office and never see the guy, right?
And the door closed.
I don't like that. Like, here we are kind of just,
I love how all the windows are open, like, you can see into the
and there's video games.
And I like how the bathroom door, you don't get to see into that. That's big plus right there, right? I was like, wait.
we don't need it. We don't know go that deep into your background. we don't want to know what you ate. Let's put it that way.
There you go.
But how do people connect to you? RGA, obviously, RGAnetwork.com.
RGAnetwork.net.
.net. See, I don't want to mess that up.
That's RGAnetwork.net. You will not forget that website. That's RGAnetwork.net. That's RGAnetwork.net. That's RGAnetwork.net. You will not forget that website. That's
RGA.com. Psych.
boom!
Why.net, not .com.
We're a networking group. Hello. And the other one was associated with a political party.
And not .org. Some people think for some reason that's a benefit. I don't know. I don't know if it is or not.
I just thought it sounded cool. RGAnetwork.net.
Well, it does ring better.
That website. You'll sing it all night long. You'll be like, damn, that Mark put that in my head. That's
So-
RGAnetwork.net.
So your best way to get a hold of you is RGAnetwork.net.
Our YouTube channel, RGA Network. Our Instagram, RGA Network. Our TikTok, RGA Network. Our Twitter, RGA Network.
The point is, stay on brand. Everything is RGA.
Brand. RGA. It's a revenue generating activity.
Yeah. Oh, for me, if anybody needs to get a hold of me, it's the Dad Next Door on Facebook and all these other places.
Dad Next Door.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
I
what
represent
about
dad
trash?
stuff. Yeah. That's the business one. I'm talking about me. Like if they want to say, hey, I want to talk to you.
I'm not allowed to get in touch with people.
Yeah, I mean, you have the gatekeepers. You have
That's
a couple
right.
of gatekeepers.
I have 4 now,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is super.
I've only tried to gone through one of them.
amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, my gatekeeper.
That Dad Next Door on Instagram, Facebook, and some other places, or Trashmitter, and the Trash or Cash
The
podcast.
Trashmitter.
Trash or Cash podcast is where you could find this. If you're looking on YouTube, it would be under the Trashmitter brand, and you look for the podcast, and I will send you all
Links,
that stuff, links.
so I can blow you up.
Blow yourself up.
Well, hey,
we blow up together.
Hold on. So if you really want to see the kind of shenanigans we do, Google Florida man defrosts turkey in pool.
Who's on that?
6 million views.
No, but who made that one?
Me.
Like,
I'm the problem.
I have a
That's me.
confession, right?
What?
Florida man.
Florida man defrosts turkey in pool.
I have a dream, and it's not as good as MLK's, but
Or it
I
could
want to
be.
have. I want before I die. I want to be. I want to be a Florida man headline. I want to be Florida man.
Oh, well then, I've
shot
lived.
puts Gator across stadium. Like I want to get a Florida. Like so.
I've lived your dream.
That's what I'm saying. When
Let
you
me tell
said
you what
that-
happened. So, Grandma, about 18 years ago, maybe 19 years ago, we have a small house. Like back in Missouri, we would have a refrigerator in the garage and a deep freezer. We don't. We have a refrigerator. Buy a turkey. I'm like, Grandma, we buy a turkey we have no room in fridge. Sorry, Grandma. So Wednesday, she's like, it will never defrost in time. So we just threw it in the pool. And 5 hours later, she was cooking Thanksgiving dinner for Thursday, right? So every year for like 17 years, we defrost turkey in pool. Well, one time I pulled the thing out and a different relative would throw the turkey in the pool. And I videotape it.
So it's a tradition now.
And one of our members who's in the media calls me up and she goes, oh my God, do you mind if I share that with my network of media? ABC, CBS, NBC. We started getting calls from the United Kingdom, Australia, Japan about defrosting our turkey in the pool. It went viral that weekend. So that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we did media interviews.
So you did it first, though. Like
We did
you're
it first.
You.
Yeah,
Who's
me.
we? You.
Well, me, Aaron, Uncle Chuck,
Okay.
Uncle Rodney, Aunt
Got
Mary
it.
Frances, like our whole family. That's how we defrost the turkey in the pool. The turkeys are sealed. They don't ever
I
leak
get it.
into the pool.
It's
No
like you do it in the
chlorine.
sink, but it's just more dramatic in the pool.
Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it floats around. People come over and they're like, is that the turkey? And you're like, yeah, we're going to pull it out and brine it and cook it.
You should oh god, tangent. But get in the pool one day where like the hair things and do like almost like a game where you gotta like get it across the goal.
Or
It's like
synchronized
turkey
swimming with
turkey
the
ball,
turkey.
and we're gonna spike it on
Turkey-
each other. We're gonna tenderize this bad boy, and like you just make a whole game out of it, and then you go eat it like you're eating the ball later
Been
on.
delicious every year.
Ah, well, you can't beat an ending like that. You got any last final words for these people who have suffered through our ADD riddled
Well, you know
podcast?
what? Just when you think you can't meet another person, I say network abundantly. I dare you. It's the secret to success.
Yeah, just one more person. Talk to them before you leave.
Right.
Like,
You never know who they know.
Yeah. I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate it.
that's a wrap, guys.
That's a wrap.
Well, that concludes this episode of Trash or Cash. Make sure you follow on all socials at Trashmitter. That's TrashMitter. And keep up with all episodes at trashorcashpodcast.com.